What about yourself? I know you do like heaps of acting stuff and freelancer stuff. Is that mostly what you're doing these days?
Yeah, I got my master's in theater about 2 years ago now, and ever since then, I
Mm-hmm.
decided that that was kind of going to be my focus, was performing and telling stories is really what I want to do. So yeah, I started doing voiceover a couple years ago too, and I do that out of my home. And then I do film and theater, but now that the virus has hit, it's kind of all on the back burner for now. But
Oh yeah, I can understand that. You mentioned that you wanted to be like a storyteller. What do you mean exactly by that?
um, I think for a lot of people, acting is about getting to be up in front of people and kind of being the center of attention.
Mm,
But I
mm,
think for me, the thing I love about it is because like you, I'm sort of on the cusp of like introverted and extroverted. I'm kind of like right in
mm-hmm.
between. And I think for me, it's just about being characters and telling stories. So any way that I can do that, whether it's through my voice or through being on film or whatever,
Mm.
I just think telling stories is important, and that's how people learn and grow and relate to other people better. So that's kind of my goal with it, I guess.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't often hear that, kind of perspective about,
Yeah.
acting and stuff. What kind of like led you down that way of thinking, do you think?
Well, let's see. It when I was a little kid, actually, my brother's 10 years older than me, so
Mm-hmm.
I always looked up to him like, oh, he's so cool. I want to be like him. And he was really into video games, like old Super Nintendo and PlayStation and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to sit and watch him play for hours because he loved role playing games and like JRPGs and stuff that had these really rich, beautiful stories. And
Yeah, yeah.
so I think I grew up seeing that, and I was like, how can I do that? Because it didn't even occur to me that like people worked on making these games. They just kind of were
Yeah.
there. So I tried theater because I was like, well, that seems like the best way to be involved in something like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of just stayed my passion. Video games, of course, have always been a passion for me too, but yeah.
Yeah, that's really really cool. I'm actually a bit of a hobbyist video game maker.
Oh, really?
I've seen you've done like a bunch of voices for different games, which is really awesome. Um,
Yeah, I
I
love
like,
it so much. Yeah.
yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I love, like behind the scenes, like development videos and stuff of
Mm-hmm.
like video games and movies and stuff like that. So, like whenever I see
Yeah.
sort of people in their disciplines doing their thing, it's always like, oh man, I can't do that, but that's awesome. It'd be so awesome to work with those different people on like one big
Mm-hmm.
project. It'd just be amazing.
Oh, yeah, there's so much involved in it and so many pieces that have to come together. But when they do, I just think there's something about playing a video game that's immersive in a way that theater and like novels can't, because
Mm-hmm.
you are the main character and you're the one going on this adventure, and like, the world won't be saved unless you do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something so cool about that, and that's why video games are my favorite thing to voice for.
Mm-hmm. You were mentioning because it's a completely different dynamic, right? Because someone's potentially going to be playing as that character rather than just viewing them on a
Mm-hmm.
screen. Um,
Yeah.
how have you sort of like tackled that difference? Has there been any like huge differences between the voice work, voicing characters in video games?
Hmm. Well, I mean, it's interesting because I think voiceover, the term, can encompass a lot of things like audiobooks and commercials, of course,
Mm.
and even like, I don't know, if you walk into like a grocery store and there's like an announcement of something on sale, like technically all of that is voiceover, or even like a voicemail recording.
Yeah.
Um, but I think voice acting in a video game is a whole different thing because I mean, sometimes games are very surfacey, like, hey, I'm a character and I'm gonna do a silly voice. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's what it's about, but for the most part, games now have gotten so beautiful and complicated that, like, the characters are really well rounded and have their own experiences and their own feelings about what's happening. And so I think it requires a lot more actual acting to think about, like, okay, what does the character feel in this moment about what's going on? Like, what are the circumstances? And it's not just like, oh, I'm going to record this in a silly voice, you know? Because there's so much happening, so much subtext and all that.
Yeah, I think definitely like around early 2000s, you know, story in video games really started to kick off. And
Yeah.
I feel like around that time is really when they started talking to me, because I got that first experience and was like first dragged into, you know, these different worlds more so than I had before, which was just, you know, just like really arcadey type games, not much story at all.
Yeah.
But then you're pulled into this world and you're like, oh wow. And suddenly, you know, I'm looking up to these video game characters, you know, going through hard times in my life, and I think, you know, what would this person do?
Right.
I'm like, that's crazy.
Isn't that
Like-
amazing? Wow. What is your favorite? Do you have a favorite video game?
Oh man, it's so hard to say. I feel like I've always loved the Halo series, which is an action game.
Oh,
But-
yeah, yeah.
The world just like spoke to me when I was like, I think I first played it when I was like 5 years old or something.
Oh, gosh, you were so young.
Yeah, like 2001 or something,
Wow.
maybe 6. But I just like it was like the first sort of fiction universe that I like fell in love with,
Yeah.
and you know that stuff stays with you forever. You know, your first sort of discoveries when you're a kid.
Absolutely. Because especially as a child, I mean, it feels like you're living it, you know, and
Yeah.
like I went through that experience, and that's so cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, like the experiences are almost real when you're a kid. It's just like,
Yeah.
and then yeah, that sticks with you for sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think that's one thing that's kind of a shame. I don't know how it is growing up where you are, but here there's very much this like idea of, okay, you have to grow up now, and like we have to focus on what's real and focus on real life and stuff. And I think people forget how to play and use their imagination. And so it's such a shame, because I wish, you know, that people could still have that even as adults. I think it's really important. And yeah, I don't know. It's just something I think about.
No, I actually think about that too. I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
It's something I've had to think about, you know, the past years as well, is stop taking things so seriously, and to see things as more of a play experience.
Yeah,
you know,
life's too short to stress about everything, right?
Exactly. And yeah, it's too short to do things that aren't very fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, thinking that way, like with myself trying to imagine, you know, creating a video game experience, you're basically creating that play experience for someone else.
Yeah.
You can't really think about it like too seriously. You can't just consider it a piece of software. I don't know, it's a weird thing to explain. But
Well, yeah, because it's like, even if you're playing the most gory, you know, gritty video game, you're still playing it. So there
Yeah.
still has to be that sense of fun. Otherwise, why do it?
yeah, exactly. And someone had to craft
Yeah.
that experience. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can tell when something wasn't crafted well when you play a bad one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or when you try and make one and you go, yes, that's terrible. There's there's something else here that, you know, it's a discipline.
Yeah.